Hello everyone, my name is Derek and welcome to the Netflix Knowhow, the movie review show here to help you stop browsing and start watching. Today we are going to be taking a look at the darker side of video journalism in Nightcrawler, the practical effect creature feature Harbinger Down, and the kitty comedy Vampire Dog. So make yourself a Bloody Mary, I sit down, and let's jump on into the Netflix-verse. First up is Nightcrawler, a drama film directed by Dan Gilroy and starring Jake Gyllenhaal, Rene Russo, Riz Ahmed, and Bill Paxton. The Netflix synopsis reads, a young hustler gets sucked into the sordid but lucrative business of trolling the streets of Los Angeles to film fires, car crashes, and murder. What other kinds of things are worth filming, right? Nightcrawler is a film about a robot. A cold, emotionless, manipulative robot hell-bent on taking over the world! Okay, not quite, but Louis Bloom, played by Jake Gyllenhaal, is definitely not the kind of guy you'd want to go out for a night of drinks with. He's bold, he's confident, he's persistent, and he's incredibly intelligent. He's also a narcissistic psychopath. Watching this guy talk is it's like watching a swarm of army ants converge on a potential threat to their colony. It's utterly captivating to witness, but it also makes your skin crawl because, well, have you seen what army ants do to things? It's slightly disturbing. The way Lou talks isn't so much like a human talking to another human, but more like an evil computer that has come to life and crushes its opposition in a wave of researched information and superior intellect. I definitely would not want to get involved in a conversation with this guy, unlike the poor souls who are unfortunate enough to get involved with him. He has a way of twisting every situation in his favor, and he has no qualms about tossing anyone under the bus if it means reaching the next level for him. I guess you could call that entrepreneurial spirit? It is kind of amazing watching as he goes from a lowly freelance amateur selling poor quality footage to a local news station, all the way up to a highly invaluable contributor that has direct influence over the news director's actual job. Not saying that his methods are at all ethical, but I have to admit, the dude knows how to make himself an essential piece of the puzzle. What he doesn't know, or at least doesn't seem to care about, are boundaries and basic human compassion. Lou doesn't have any problems demanding intimate sexual favors for his continued partnership. Lou doesn't see anything wrong with tampering the scene of a crash site in order to frame a better picture for the camera. Lou, being the upstanding citizen that he is, purposefully breaks the law so that he can fabricate a situation that he knows will create a bloody, carnage-filled night that the news stations will pay top dollar to have footage of. The guy is nuts, and the sad part is, he exists in a system that actually rewards this immoral behavior. It's a very telling commentary on the way that modern news relies more on sensation than, actual news. I mean, just take a look at the way CNN presents its news coverage. They prioritize flashiness, drama, and ratings over accurately depicting the information that actually matters. News is not news anymore, it is entertainment, and it's a trend that I find to be incredibly troubling. There is something very wrong where we can exist in a society where narcissism and a blatant disregard for the well-being of others are key ingredients to achieving success. So Nightcrawler is a dark, brutal, subversive character study that sheds some pretty harsh light on the reality of the dog-eat-dog world that we live in. I always thought having a heart was overrated anyway. Thumbs up. Next up is Harbinger Down, a horror film directed by Alec Gillis and starring Lance Henriksen, Camille Balsamo, Matt Winston, Reid Collums, and Winston James Francis. The Netflix synopsis reads, studying the effects of global warming aboard a fishing trawler, graduate students dredge up Soviet space wreckage that contains deadly organisms. Have movie scientists learned nothing? Rule number 17, you don't mess with alien space junk. So we got this really cool movie back in 1982 called The Thing, where a bunch of scientists are at an Arctic base and they're fighting to survive against this alien parasite thing that happens to infect people and kills everybody. It looked great, it was super scary, and some might even go so far as to say that it's a horror classic. Fast forward to 2011, and we got another movie called The Thing, except this time, the scientists are at a different Arctic base, the monster is frozen when they find it before it comes to life, and then it wakes up, infects people, and kills everybody. It looked fake, it wasn't as scary, and you probably forgot it even existed until I mentioned it just now. So now in the year 2015, we got a new movie called Harbinger Down. There's scientists, there's an alien, it infects people and kills everybody. But this time, they're on a boat. I'm on a boat! Probably near the Arctic somewhere. I'm beginning to notice a trend here. So yeah, Harbinger Down is basically just The Thing, but on a boat. And it's also lacking Kurt Russell, but I'll admit that Lance Henriksen is a pretty good replacement, so... They say that imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, but there's a difference between imitation and flat out trying to copy something. I think that the makers behind Harbinger Down did have their hearts in a good place. It's very clear that they wanted to make a practical effects creature feature with minimal CGI to pay homage to the gory and gruesome horror movies of the 80s. In terms of the visuals, I think they did a pretty good job of capturing that. The monster effects definitely look great, and as someone who often laments the prevalence of CGI over practical effects in modern movies, I am glad to see that there are still filmmakers out there who appreciate doing things the old-fashioned way. I know that CGI is a necessary evil nowadays, but sometimes you just can't beat the look of a real thing filmed on camera. Unfortunately, that's about as far as the ship goes before freezing over into mediocrity. The characters have about as much depth and personality as a piece of sheet metal. The dialogue is either stuck in exposition mode or tossing out cliche one-liners like rice at a wedding. There's some weird plot points that come completely out of nowhere and have absolutely no business being there. And as I mentioned already, it's just The Thing! On a boat! Maybe the movie would have been scarier if I didn't already know every single turn that the plot was going to take, but there is absolutely nothing original or unique about the story. It's like reading a book that you've already read, except all of the names have been changed and some of the places are just a little bit different. Why not just read the original in that case? It's probably better anyway. If you're really into horror movies and you're a real connoisseur of practical visual effects, you might have some fun watching this. But I think it's safe to say that this monstrosity is best left frozen at the bottom of the ocean. Thumbs down. Finally, we have Vampire Dog, a children and family movie directed by Geoff Anderson and starring Norm Macdonald, Collin MacKechnie, Julia Sarah Stone, Amy Matysio, and Ron Pederson. The Netflix synopsis reads, "An enduring friendship forms when a boy adopts Fang, a 600-year-old vampire dog, and together they try to stop a mad scientist who wants Fang's DNA." Whoa, 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 whoa. A 600-year-old dog? That's just ridiculous. He's 500. Get it right. Something tells me I may not be the target audience for this movie. So obviously this is a kid's movie. I have not been a kid since... well, legally I haven't been a kid for quite a few years now. I'm an adult. For what it is, Vampire Dog is a cute little movie. It's stupid. Really, really stupid. But it has its moments. For instance, this is the first movie I've seen in a really long time that has a fart joke I actually laughed at. Kudos, Vampire Dog. I did not see that coming. You know what else I didn't see coming? A vampire who subsists on the bloody sustenance of cherry-flavored Jell-O. Did I mention this is a kid's movie? If there's one thing you should do when going into this, you need to turn off your brain. Otherwise you're going to spend the entire time asking yourself questions like, why is a vampire dog needed to make skin cream? How do the bad guys know where the dog is? How can they tell the difference between a normal dog and a vampire dog? Why does the vampire dog sleep at night instead of during the day? Is that really every single piece of Jell-O available in the town? When did the mad scientist form a plot with the school principal? What is the evil plot between the scientist and the school principal? Why do the villains magically stop chasing the kids for no reason? If the dog is in the pound, how does making an allergy antidote fix that? Bro, does your mother even emote? The answers to all of these questions and more will probably have to be asked to a magic 8-ball because you sure are not getting any answers from this movie. There was also something off about a lot of the scenes where I felt like I was missing some important information. The movie kept showing me the results of an event that had already happened that I needed to see in order to make sense of the results that I was now watching. Let me put it this way. And so the panda reached the other side of the chocolate river and lived happily ever after with his bamboo crafted fidget spinner. Now, you are probably wondering where this panda came from. And the chocolate river. And the fidget spinner. Me too, my friends. Me too. But maybe I'm being a little unfair here. For as stupid as this movie is, I laughed a lot. Don't get me wrong, a lot of the jokes are really bad, but a lot of them are freaking hilarious. And the best part of the movie is definitely the villains. I think the director looked at them and said, "Alright guys, do whatever the heck you want." And they did. And it was great, and I loved them. They were so much fun. If you're gonna have a crappy one-dimensional villain, this is the way to do it. And I would not at all be surprised if the actor playing the henchman got the role solely based on his ability to scream and act like a chicken. Vampire Dog is basically the equivalent of a stupid Disney Channel sitcom that got turned into a movie, so take that however you want. There's worse things out there, but I think you can do better than Cherry Jello. Thumbs down. In the beginning, there was MySpace. And from the shadows of MySpace arose Facebook. And then Facebook curb stomped MySpace into the ground because Darwinism, that's why. And then someone said, "You know what would be great? A whole website that's just the status section of Facebook." And lo and behold, Twitter was born. Yeah, I have a Twitter now, guys. Thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate every single one of you. If you've seen any of these movies, feel free to leave your opinions below. I would love to hear what your thoughts on them are. If you have any suggestions for movies, go ahead and comment them as well, and maybe I'll feature them in a future episode. So, in case you couldn't tell, I finally got Twitter up and running. Hooray! So you can follow me on there. My tag is Netflix_Knowhow. So go ahead and head on over there. Follow me on Twitter. I will be posting on there throughout the week, or at least trying to, especially, after I watch movies, you can sort of get a sneak peek about what's going to be coming up at the weekly episode. I also have Facebook, so you can always head over to Facebook, like and follow me on there. And as always, if you want to know your flicks, you know where to click. Happy hunting, guys. See you next week.